Lisa, let's buy a farm.
Oliver, why do you have such a thing about moving to a farm?
Why do you have such a thing about not moving to a farm?
Well, my thing makes more sense than your thing.
I don't agree with you.
Darling, you have everything a man could possibly want. A beautiful home, a wife who loves you, a successful law practice. Yet you throw it all away to move to a farm.
You're darn right I would.
Why?
Because a farm would give me a feeling of accomplishing something. I'd take a little seed, a tiny little seed. I'd plant it in the ground. I'd put some dirt on it. I'd water it. And pretty soon, do you know what I'd have?
A dirty little wet seed.
All the different types of seeds. Early girl tomatoes. These are little hybrid red robins, or real small tomatoes. Okra, spinach, and some jalapeno seeds. These are yellow pear, little small yellow pear tomatoes, which are so sweet. I love them right off the vine. And this is Butterhead Lettuce Collection. Welcome back to Monday Morning Chat. Well, as you can see, I'm going to do a garden, a disabled garden. I hope this helps some people that love to get their hands in the soil and love to get dirty, but just can't get out in the garden anymore. That's me. I don't want to fall, and I can't walk on uneven surfaces. I'm going to have my garden in my sunroom. It's got a brick floor, and I used to have all kinds of plants out there years ago, and we turned it into a sunroom and had our TV out there, and it was a great place. The dogs loved it. Matter of fact, it was the dogs. They had their dog beds out there, and they'd sleep out there. But anyway, so it's turning back into a garden. I'll show you here in just a minute. I've got a bunch of containers that I'm going to garden in, and hopefully raise a few greens. And I did a little research. I had no idea. I knew you could raise tomatoes indoors because I've done that before. And I knew that you could raise peppers because I had peppers planted one time in 5-gallon pots. And I didn't want to lose the plant when it started getting cold, so I put them in the sunroom. You know, it never gets freezing in there, and they grew like crazy. They were the super hot peppers, so which I loved. And I also had trying to think. I had 2 avocado trees in there. Raised a couple of pineapples on our back porch. I mean, literally from the cutting of the top. I'll put some pictures up of that. And they bloomed and created another pineapple. It's a long way to get a pineapple. It takes a long time. So if you're in a hurry, just go to Wally World and buy you a pineapple. But if you like growing stuff and getting your hands in the soil and doing that, that's the way to do it. I've got some pictures of some onions and stuff that I've started in my windowsill. Some celery. When you get through with the stalks of celery, just cut the end off and put it in water. 90% of the time it will start growing and produce another bunch of celery. And so I'm going to do that. Same thing with the onions. You cut the root end off and just put it in water. It'll sprout up. I'll pick some pictures of that. I got one out here. It's just going crazy. And then I've cut the tip ends off of little green onions. You know, the long skinny green onions. Well, I cut the root end off and just put those in the same little container as I did my big onion, and they're starting to sprout. So I've never done this. They say that if you, well, I've never done it indoors. I put sprouted onions outside and left them a couple of years, and then a couple of years later there'd be all kinds of onions coming out from under. But they say if you like green onions, which we do, you can just go out and cut a couple of little stalks off and it'll just keep regrowing. Now, how long it grows, nobody knows. I couldn't get that information. But spinach, lettuce stuff, as long as you keep it headed out, it'll grow for a long time. And I'm gonna plant that at different times. So maybe three weeks, and then another 3 weeks to put it on then. So anyway, that's my wife's in there talking to her nurse. So anyway, life is good. Just trying to solve a problem. I love the dirt. I love getting my hands dirt, and so I'm still going to do that. And then I'll show you.
I've said that to so many people lately. But okay.
I'm also going to raise worms because the worm poop is great for your garden, and it really will go good for these house plants that I'm growing inside the sunroom. And I use a lot of worms. I used to raise red wigglers years ago, and I had customers that would come by and pick up a Ziploc bag that weighed a pound, and I would go out there, and I had some big old box beds. They raised like rabbits. I mean, and I never even got the soil out of them. I would take the soil out to fertilize them. That's when I had a regular garden, and I'll put pictures of it up at the end. I'd take the worm castings, that's worm poop, and spread it out on the garden. And sometimes it would have, start to say seeds, it would have eggs in it, the worm eggs. And now my old garden spot, it's full of red wigglers when you dig out there, and I can't garden in it anymore. Matter of fact, my neighbors garden that spot. So anyway, that'll be a second benefit to having those on the back porch. I need to go fishing. I just reach into the box. They're real clean, and they just eat scraps. They're recycler worms, that's what they is, and there's no stink or anything like that. So if there is, you're doing something wrong. But anyway, I'll bring y'all along for the ride as we get there, and bring you back for when Mr. Porter and I put the soil and stuff in these and start doing some planting. You all have a wonderful Monday. Never give up. Keep on keeping on. The old gardener dude is out of here. You can see some old egg cartons. Each one of those little divots will be filled with topsoil, growing media, as they say. And it will contain probably 2 or 3 seeds, and once it grows up, I'll take the biggest one, kill the other 2 off, and that's going to be some tomatoes. Plenty enough tomatoes in those 2 little compartments to raise a lot of tomatoes. To-go containers that have lids make excellent places to start seeds. Put the lid on it, not loose, just set it up there, hold some moisture in while the seeds germinate. Here's a gallon water jug turned on its side, will be filled. It's got holes in the bottom, and it will be used for some type of planter. Those tubs sitting on top of those crates are gallon jugs in there. You see what I was talking about? Plant soil in the bottom of this. Put the lid on to germinate. Be good for greens, spinach. Gallon milk jugs, gallon water jugs, turned up right to put soil in to plant. There's my bin for worm poop, worm castings. I use a lot of red wigglers to fish with. They're easy to raise indoors, so that will be a worm bin. This room gets plenty of light. It is my sunroom, and for about a year, this room was where my hospital bed sat or stayed. The hospital bed was in our kitchen, or excuse me, our living room. I could walk about 3 foot. I finally graduated and could make it to the kitchen when I started moving that much. Our sunroom is sitting out here empty. I mean, nothing in it. Just some stuff on the wall, some of my old stuff. It's actually a FFA award up there for farming. So I'm still going to be farming, except on a lot smaller spot. So Anyway, I hope this helps someone that loves to garden like me, loves to get their hands in the soil, which I always have in my life. And, never give up. Keep on keeping on, as they say. And I'll bring this video back maybe next week, a couple of weeks from now, when I get some soil going in. I'll show you how I do that.
Plant the little seeds in the rich brown earth. Watch them push themselves up through the soil, reaching up toward the blue sky and the sunshine till they become corn and wheat and alfalfa.
We're just simple country folk.
Don't apologize. Now, here's something from England. It's a King George cricket bat.
No thanks.
How about this? Here's something that no self-respecting German housefrau should be without. It's a genuine pig's knuckle scraper.
Do you have any work shoes that won't wear out?
What size?
11 and a half.
How are these?
How much are they?
$1.50?
Try 'em on.
I don't want them.
Well, you can't go on working in the fields in your bare feet.
Instead of this, could I have that?
Well, I'll say the little lady sure has good taste. That there's the latest model from Paris, France. Only $12.
$12? Now stop yowling.